Usually, summer is when we relax. It's a bright time of year, full of memories we carry for the rest of our lives. Road trips, ice cream melting too fast, bonfires that turn strangers into friends. But maybe that's exactly why summer horror feels so different. Because when the sun is shining, and you're surrounded by warmth and laughter, your guard is down. And that's when it creeps in. You might be out by the lake, or in a cabin deep in the woods. You might be at home, windows open to let in the breeze, but something else slips in with it. So tonight we're telling 3 stories, each one set beneath the sun, but shadowed by something far worse. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share your own summer nightmares in the comments. Now, let's begin. It was the hottest summer in 50 years. The kind of heat that makes your skin stick to leather seats and melts asphalt into syrup. I was staying in the town of Bellevue, Louisiana. Population just under 2,000. Mostly older folks. Folks who sat on their porches and sipped sweet tea while their dogs slept under rocking chairs. The bugs were always bad in the South, but that summer, the mosquitoes came in waves, big ones, loud ones. I'd seen them before, but never like this. And here's the part no one could explain. They only bit adults. Kids ran barefoot through fields, not a welt on their legs. Babies slept outside in strollers with not a single mark. But the adults? We were torn to shreds. My arms looked like they'd been sandblasted. My neck was raw. My hands shook from the constant itching. At first, we blamed the usual. Weather shifts, bad repellents, a swampy breeding season. But something was off. The mosquitoes didn't act right. They followed certain people, hovered outside their houses, waited. And soon, those people, the ones with the worst bites, started losing their minds. My neighbor dug a hole in her backyard and buried every piece of clothing she owned. Said the bites had voices. Another man locked himself in his truck and tried to flood it with bug spray. Said they were crawling through his veins. I laughed at them, until it started happening to me. At night I'd hear them, not outside. Inside. I sealed my windows, taped the cracks. Still, I'd wake up with fresh bites, always in the same places. Over my heart, under my jaw, along my wrists, like they were trying to get into me. And worse than the bites was the sound. That faint, droning hum, high-pitched and steady, began to fill my ears even during the day. I'd hear it in the silence, in my bathroom, in my truck. I'd cover my ears and it would only grow louder, louder and deeper, like it was crawling into my skull. One night I woke up choking, not coughing, choking. Something was in my throat. I looked in the mirror and saw my tongue swollen, red, covered in pinpricks. I collapsed in the kitchen, sweating, and when I looked up, the air was full of them, mosquitoes, thousands, drifting like black fog above me, then gone. The next day, I saw them waiting for me. Not in the air, on the walls. Dozens of them, unmoving, perched like sentries, watching. I screamed, smashed holes in the drywall, poured bleach in the corners. But when I stopped, they were still there. I went to the church the next day. The preacher didn't flinch, just looked me in the eyes and said, "You feel it, don't you?" Guilt draws them. And in that moment I knew. I'd always told myself I wasn't a bad person. I just borrowed. From my brother's wallet, from my mother's savings, from a partner I'd never planned to stay with. I'd never been caught, but I'd never repented either. They knew. That night I didn't sleep. I watched the door. I wore gloves, long sleeves, taped my collar shut. But the humming wouldn't stop. I heard it in the pipes, in the walls, in my teeth. I tore apart my mattress looking for them. Tore open the vents. Didn't matter. I woke up screaming. My fingers were unrecognizable, swollen, broken, skin peeling. My hands, the ones I'd used to steal, were nothing but open wounds, as if they were being eaten first, as if they wanted to remind me what they'd taken. I left Bellevue the next day, but sometimes, when I sleep in unfamiliar beds, I hear that hum again, and my hands begin to itch. They say the forest near Echo Ridge was cursed long before they built the trails, before the signs, before the maps even showed it existed. I was 16 when I first hiked into that place. It was late July, humid, and the forest was alive with cicadas and gnats. I was with two friends, Mason and Tyler. We wanted to escape town, drink beer, jump in the lake. The lake wasn't on any map, but the older kids knew it, called it Stillwater. A perfect circle, black as ink. No fish, no reeds, just water so calm it looked like glass even when the wind blew. The shoreline had no sand, just wet, dark earth that swallowed your footsteps. We swam until sunset, laughed, screamed. I remember the water being warm, too warm. I remember diving under and feeling a sudden pull on my ankle. I thought it was Mason, but when I came up, he was on the shore lighting a cigarette. That night, we stayed in a tent, but I didn't sleep. I heard the water moving, like something was pacing the surface. Soft ripples, like a swimmer doing slow laps. The trees around the lake didn't feel right. They bent toward the water like they were listening. And every now and then, I'd hear a splash. Always the same rhythm, always just out of sight. The next day, Tyler was gone. We found his shoes by the water, his shirt on a tree branch, no body. They searched for 3 days, drones, divers, nothing. The police gave up, said maybe he ran, but his pack was still zipped in the tent. And then I learned the story. Decades ago, a girl drowned in that lake. Her boyfriend dared her to swim out after dark. She never came back. Some say he pushed her, some say she fell, but no one ever found her body. The boy disappeared not long after. Locals say she never left. She doesn't drag you down, she waits. Waits until you look into the water too long. Until your guilt pulls you deeper than breath. I didn't go back for years, not until last summer. I was hiking alone, needed air, space, ended up at Stillwater again. The trees hadn't changed, the water still black, still calm, still breathing. I sat at the edge, and I saw her, not her face, just her back, floating, hair fanned out like seaweed, pale arms stretched wide, not moving, not breathing, then gone. When I got home, I found Tyler's old hiking boots by my door. They were still wet, and I never brought them back. It started with the sound. I was biking home just past midnight, the tires of my bike hissing over the hot pavement, still holding on to the day's heat. The moon was half gone, low over the fields. I wasn't drunk, just tired. My cousin's place was a 10-minute ride from mine, and I'd made that shortcut across the backfield 100 times. But that night, I heard something. Faint. Melodic. Like carousel music. Old and broken, like it came through a rusted speaker. It wasn't coming from anywhere logical. Not from a house or parked car. It just drifted through the warm summer air. I crested the small hill near the cornfield and stopped so hard my bike nearly tipped. The empty lot that had always been just that, empty, was filled. Rides, lights, flags, a full carnival glowing with garish reds and blues, flickering like it was stuck between decades. There were booths and tents, but no one in them. Rides moving on their own. A Ferris wheel creaking softly. Swings turning lazily in the breeze. But no people, no cars, no setup crew, nothing. I stood there for maybe 10 minutes, watching, listening. Then I left. The next day, the field was empty again, not a single track in the dirt. The grass stood tall and unbent, like nothing had ever touched it. When I asked my cousin about it, he just laughed and said I was dreaming. But the night after that, it was back. Only this time there were people. They didn't move much, they didn't speak, but they were there, sitting on the rides, standing by the booths. And one of them, I swear, was Jeremy Harrow. He'd gone missing the summer before. Everyone thought he ran away, but there he was, sitting on the spinning teacups, his face pale and frozen, mouth slightly open like he'd been mid-scream for a year. And then the music shifted. It grew louder, slower, like it was aware of me now. It stretched out each note like a yawn in the dark, and I felt the back of my neck go cold despite the heat. I didn't go back for 3 days, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. I dreamt about the lights, the dead faces on the rides, the way they stared ahead, not at me, but like they were waiting for someone, and I went again. That time, the carnival was bigger, more booths, more rides, and it wasn't in the field, it was in the cemetery. Tents stood between tombstones. The carousel turned over graves. Strings of yellow bulbs hung from twisted branches. I walked slowly, the grass soft and cold beneath my feet. The smell of popcorn mixed with something sour, old, like blood on rusted metal. And then I saw him, standing at the ticket booth beneath a crooked sign that read, "One-way ride." He looked just like me, not similar, not close, exactly me. Same clothes and same haircut, same small scar on my chin from when I fell off the fence at 11. He smiled, just once, then held out a ticket. I didn't take it. I ran. I didn't look back. I ditched my bike and sprinted through the cornfield, panting and sweating and crying before I even hit the road. No one believed me. They never do. The carnival never came back. But sometimes, I swear, I hear that music when the wind changes direction. And I haven't looked in a mirror since that night, because I'm afraid that one day, the one on the other side will smile back. Summer makes us feel safe. The long days, the warm nights, the laughter, the freedom. But horror doesn't wait for winter. It doesn't care about the calendar. Maybe that's why these stories feel so wrong. Because they twist the familiar. A buzzing mosquito, a peaceful lake, a cheerful carnival, all turned against us, all hiding something we never want to face. So next time you open your window for a breeze, or walk barefoot through the grass, or stay out a little too late at the fair, remember, the sun might be out. But that doesn't mean you're alone. If you made it this far, thank you. Subscribe, leave a like, and tell us. What's your scariest summer memory? Sleep well.